All right, folks, welcome on back here and close things out for the week. I should say this Friday, May 14th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Should be good to go across the trading room as always, or as usual, perhaps. Norman, Ken, Gene, Leda, Bobby, Chuck, Joyce, Randy, all of our students live inside Cyber Group. And alongside them, of course, all of our folks on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Let's hop right into it. I mean, it's a Friday at the end of the week. We had a really good morning. Obviously, a couple things moving, as you could see, with the LFMD still at the highs, but we're going to keep it simple going into the close. I'm not really trying to find too many stocks to trade. We don't need to, especially for the end of the week, like we had said. So, LFMD definitely going to put this on our list, maybe, or hopefully one of just a few, but easily going to start by putting this on our list just because it's right at the highs. Not necessarily because it's moving with the market. I don't know what the news is on this stock. Not even really going to check. We're not going to really trade this stock because of the news. We're trading the stock based on the direction that it's moving in right now, the direction that it was moving in from the market open today. I had to jump to a stock that I'm actually in right now. It's making a big move. All right, I'm going to get to that in a second. LFMD, easily enough, we're going to put this on our list to begin. Hopefully, this just continues pushing up higher. Follow the trend off the lows. It seems to be one of these choppy stocks that are moving minute by minute, like a grinding type of trade, but has developed a nice trend off the lows throughout the, course of the morning and into the afternoon. All right. So a stock that I'm in right now, the only stock that I'm in right now, I mentioned this to all of our traders live inside Cyber Group before I hopped on officially. I did a quick sound test beforehand, but BNGO, I'm currently in this trade right now from $5.20. And I say big pop. It made a small little dip just, a moment after, but it's been a type of grinding type of move as well, but expectedly so, taking us into the slow afternoon time here, going into the next hour and a half. Hopefully this wakens up a lot more. I'm not necessarily expecting this to break new highs, but it's to say that off the 520 level, it's generated me the ability to go with the momentum. I could talk about why I was watching 520 more or less. It was based on big prints filled from the time and sales program, or shown on the time and sales program, rather, from the early afternoon or late morning, either way. I don't have my book map up right now while I'm in this meeting, but ended up seeing it was a 420 some odd thousand share print. I may even get my call out that I made live inside the trading room at that time, but ended up holding around there just recently as resistance and then just broke above it now. And, I ended up jumping in, but we're not out of the doghouse really on this trade just yet. From YouTube really quick. Someone asking why it doesn't show that you're in the trade. Okay, so yes, I have this screen which I project. This is for our live trading room, which for all of us in social media can see. If you want to see the screen that I'm trading off of, let me just do something really quick. I don't mind sharing that. Obviously, it does not show that I'm in that position on that chart or on that level 2, perhaps. So how about this? For all of us live inside Cyber Group, you folks saw this live platform earlier today. We did our Traders Talk workshop. Just showing this for them on social media. That's all. I ended up leaning into this trade. This is a larger position size for me. I normally do 1,000 shares, but pretty confident about the move. So I loaded up. I took about 1,000 shares off before I started, though. Sold 525. So I still have my stop set. And, I'm hoping that this trade pushes up. You can see them. And all right. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming, I guess, for right now. Bingo, we'll put this on our list as well, with hopes of this moving up. Now, on this trade, the only gripe that I have on it is that it's pretty slow right now. That's not surprising. I'm more hopeful that this will look to make the bigger squeeze up later on today. But it's just trade a lot of volume, 91 million shares total across the day today. That's a hell of a lot more you could just see on my daily chart compared to really any other day in the last month, couple of months, if that. Obviously took off back in the end of last year. It was trading upwards of 800 million plus shares back on one day here, but doesn't mean that it's always going to trade that volume. Dived off after as it continued to move up, but the stock came back down afterwards as well. And yeah, I mean, we've been familiar with this stock. I think it's off of even earnings from last night or into this morning. So, I'm in from 520. I'm hopeful that this will, make our big pop going into the afternoon. But yeah, put this on our list to begin. All right, so we'll just go from top to bottom now, folks. We'll see what else we got taking us into the close. I don't know what the hell is going on here. Up 2,617%. It might be a typo, a glitch, perhaps from a reverse stock split of some sort. But Yeah, this DTST, not really going to focus on. My bingo starting to pull back a bit. HYRE, HYRE. I saw one of us, I think maybe Chuck C, ended up calling this out. He took a short on this perhaps from earlier today. Ended up making a nice drop off after the run up, right? It was shortable on TradeStation at least. So, I always say if it craps out the other way, it could be a good opportunity to follow on the way down. Right now, just kind of same with this as I had said before on bingo. I feel like it's pretty exhausted given the volume that it's traded today compared to what it normally trades. Prior to today's stock traded maybe like less than 500,000 shares a day on average. So, trading 34 times that if you do this, simple math. All right. Hopefully I do well on my bingo, but if I don't, it's not too bad. I don't mean to sound greedy with it, but I said this before in our live trading room. After you do your homework, you can get to play around a little bit. So I ended up taking some profit, but if I waste that position and if it stops me out break even around 520 or 519, I already made money from the morning. So I'll find another trade for the afternoon at that point. We'll come back to bingo obviously at the end though. MOSY, nice pop from earlier today. Unfortunately, what happened with this today is what happens with this stock quite a bit. The pop and drop ended up making a huge move back in April of last year, but came back down hard. Same thing here and here and here. Lengthy run up going back into January, February time perhaps here, but same thing, dump back down. History has a tendency to repeat itself, folks. So, this MOSY stock, just garbage now. Maybe keep it on your side list going into next week, but not really too keen for it here. LFMD, already on our list, breaking higher already. Leads, however you may pronounce it here. Same thing with this, though. Pop and drop all over the place. Ended up making a big squeeze up back-to-back days here, but here popped up, got halted on the way up, did well after. So if you were stuck in the halt, fortunately on this one, you had a chance to get out much higher, but ended up coming back down pretty hard afterwards. So. Man, how about Doordash? I forgot, earnings on this. More expensive stock. I wasn't following this one as much. I had Disney on my earnings calendar going into yesterday afternoon, but this one not as much. Ended up making a nice pop after the market opened. Ended up, pushing up towards just over 145, 146. But for right now, it's kind of near the highs. If you are following it more on the options side, I guess that would be the lower. Not to say lower risk, but the cheaper play, perhaps, let's say. Cheaper could be more of a negative connotation, but in the sense of trading, it's not. That's why I'm trading bingo on 2,000 shares now. It's a cheaper stock compared to some of the other trades here. Jivo, getting back to this though, pretty similarly priced to the bingo stock. Ended up making a big push after the open. I think this was earnings also. Looks pretty strong, looks pretty volatile, still taking us into the afternoon. I don't mind putting this one on our list too. Looks like this ended up just breaking over 6 again. Yeah, well, again, meaning for the first time in like a couple hours here, hour and a half at least. But, not surprising the first time it ended up failing, but needs to re-break soon here. If it re-breaks above 6, I could see us making the run from there. All right, what else we got here? Just going to skim through here now at this point. Any other familiar names? Just going to keep it light. ACY is a familiar name. Number 20, watch this. It's going to pop right now, watch. It's starting to squeak up a little bit. Just look at the daily chart on this stock, talking about stocks like MOSY, stocks like Leads, and all of that. This ACY is not a day trade, or not a swing trade, I mean. Day trade, perhaps, if you're able to catch it early enough, but you know what? I just closed out on bingo. It's dropping back down right now. I might even re-enter just during this meeting. I'll let you know if I do that, but I just clocked out right at 522, just 2-cent profit there on 2,000 shares. That's fine. Got a full hour and 15 minutes left, roughly, more. All right, what else we got here? Riot is up. Go through a couple of other familiar names. RIOT, Riot popped after the open. We'll go to Bitcoin at the end of the meeting. I'll save that for the end, and I will get to it. I won't go off on some tangent, but Mara and Riot not really like too enticing for us to follow going into this afternoon. Volatile. Don't get me wrong. If you do well on it, like maybe you follow it more so than most of us, but nothing really too much to write home about right now on these trades, and probably same for a stock like Canon. Let's see what else we got here. TIGR, I thought I saw otherwise. Let's see. I thought I saw it. Right here. There we go. TIGR, familiar name, ended up making a big run going back into the end of last year, starting from, and then ended up squeezing all the way up towards 35, near $40 going into February time. But, a very volatile stock, great sideless stock normally. And today it seems like it's pushing back up nicely. You have a major resistance off of 17 and got tested earlier. Looks like a big volume spike right off 11 o'clock Eastern time there, you could see. And 46,000 shares on the S currently. So, Tiger, I like this stock. Add this to the list as well. All right, let's hop over to the losers list, see if there's anything looking just as good. I know the airlines and cruise lines are up, so we'll get to those also by the end. Those are normally sideless stocks that I have said from the pandemic, last year, that we're moving with the market during that time, and, we'll look at them every now and then. One thing I failed to do, between you and me, I failed to refill up a water bottle before I started this meeting. That's why I want to zip through this pretty quick. It's been a long day of talking for a Friday. Markets are up, UVXY down, VIX down, VIXY, all these ETFs. Yep. I'll tell you, not to be lazy, but that's pretty much all I see on the loser side. Let's get to the airlines. We'll get to the cruise lines, Bitcoin chart, anything else that we catch. AAL just at the highs and kind of just slumping off here. NCLH. So, if the markets squeeze up, it just seems like they're still holding pretty strong at this point. If you follow them, if you do well on these stocks more often than not, it would be a good idea for you to follow them. I wouldn't mind just kind of grouping airlines and cruise lines together, just generally on our list. And I'm sure there's going to be other stocks outside those sectors that are moving, with the market generally up. I know Palantir was called out earlier today. That one is also up pretty nicely, so I don't mind slipping this on our list as well, just individually. Yeah, Ken, you got out at 522 as well. It bounced back up a brief bit. I'm sure that you saw. Again, we got plenty of time. I'm not going to just run into a trade. Plenty of time. All right, so folks, let me know if there's anything else that you see that's up, down, left, right, more than 5%. I'll look on Benzinga Pro first. I'll get Bitcoin up at the tail end. Thankfully, Bitcoin did not tail off down to 41,000, right? Now, I didn't think it was going to do that overnight, mind you, but I still think that that's in play. Thankfully, Bitcoin did make a nice little bounce overnight, a small one, tiny. Not a whole lot to write home about there on that end, but, moving back over 50,000. All right. I really don't see much else, folks, as far as a familiar name. An NDM from Chuck. Yeah, I guess because it's kind of moving with Bingo and Jivo, right? Those three actually we've grouped together in the past commonly. Jivo, Bingo, and NNDM. You know what? So for that reason, definitely I'll add NNDM. CODX, not as much. Not as much on this. And that's all right. That's fine. Chronos garbage. I just saw this pop up on my Benzinga radar. So, just because it's at high of the day doesn't mean that it's going to be a good move, right? All right, so I think that's just about it. Let me get Bitcoin up here. I'll just briefly show you. Listen, we can't predict price action at this point because any general comment that's made about Bitcoin is going to pop or drop it. Elon Musk or not. That and generally with what's going on with, the U.S. markets here, if we happen to see a bigger drop off in, futures come Sunday evening, you might see a plunge on Bitcoin with it. You might see natural profit taken going into the end of the weekly candle. Things like that are just, expected for anything, Bitcoin or currency or equity or anything. So it's just to say, though, with Bitcoin here, it ended up making a bit of a squeeze back up from where we last left off with it. Not really a whole lot to write home about. Hasn't broken above this little, peak yet either. So has a ways to go to get back up, and that's fine. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, so I'll tell you, I got to get back to bingo here. I probably shouldn't have gotten out. I should have trusted my first instinct with setting my stop below $5.20 because this damn thing is popping right back up right now. All right, so I kind of wasted that trade, and that's fine. We'll jump right back to it, folks. I like the list that we have for anyone on social media here. First and foremost, enjoy your weekend. Probably going to be the nicest weekend out here in Long Island, New York. Going to be like 80 degrees by the time it's 4 o'clock here, so I look forward to that. I hope you folks enjoy. We'll be back on Monday, but keep in mind for Tuesday, we've been mentioning this for a long while, but going into Tuesday of next week, this upcoming week rather, on May 18th, we'll be conducting our live Traders Talk workshop, a simulcast that we always do every week inside the Cyber Group trading room. It's a simulcast, so 2 or 3 times across the calendar year, we tend to do this. I look forward to it. If you'd like to join, just make sure that you're there on Tuesday morning. We'll go live. Make sure that you like, notify, and subscribe on our YouTube channel in order to do that. All right. So for all of us live inside the trading room, I'm going to post and tweet the picks. I'm going to jump onto a call. I'll be back on at 3:30, taking us into the afternoon.